Hello, Meoni here. Welcome back to another patch note reading, this time for patch 7.45, releasing today the 3rd of March 2026. So this patch is entirely to do with the new variant Criterion and variant plus mode of the Merchant's Tale, a new variant and Criterion mode added in this patch, and also the addition of the next part of the Hildebrand storyline. There are some other minor changes as well, but it's focused around that content for this 0.45 patch. There is no Blue Mage content updates yet, which is quite surprising, as usually in the past, a 0.45 has been where we've seen information for that. So I'm guessing that'll be in the 7.5x series instead. So let's read through this. So of course, the new side quests have been added for the variant modes. If you want to pick up the quest to start the new variant mode, this is called a Spellbinding Read. You can do this at Disciple of War or Magic at level 90 in Old Sharlayan specifically. This is at X12.0, Y 13.3 at Shallow Moor. You must first have completed the main scenario quest for Endwalker, so the previous expansion, and also have spoken with the NPC Osman in Old Sharlayan before. It does appear that there are 2 quests in total for this, so presumably unlocking the variant mode and then presumably finishing that. I don't know, it says players must first complete the side quest Spellbinding Read, so the unlock, and fulfill certain conditions in the variant mode. So presumably maybe to unlock Criterion, who knows. So then there's also the Hildebrand adventures. If you want to continue those, you need to find Hardeboiled in Solution 9 at X17.0, Y18.3. And you need to obviously be a Disciple of War or Magic level 100 and have completed the previous quests. It does only show 2 quests for the Hildebrand storyline. So, yeah, it says a need for speed and then a mystery quest. So, yeah, not much Hildebrand this time. There's also new chapters added to New Game Plus. This includes, obviously, the Merchant's Tale storyline. There are some new furnishings in this, presumably all from the variant mode and Criterion, etc. They look like this. The indoors ones, we've got a little sort of like feather stand here. Lots of ornate Corvosian architecture, basically. That's a really nice sofa, actually. Bits and pieces, and then outdoors we've got a Corvosi crystal. I'm going to guess that's what that's called, just out of just ripping the name out of my head, because everything is Corvosian, right, in the storybook. There's obviously new Orchestrion rolls, can't wait to collect those, and they've done a minor change to previous Orchestrion rolls by simply putting, instead of Pulse Volume 2, it's now Pulse 2 as an abbreviation, to make the names shorter, so they appear better on the list for the Orchestrion. The Gold Sorcerer's got new Triple Triad cards. These will likely be related to the bosses within the variant mode, so you will probably have to get those as a drop. Yeah, basically. And there are new NPC opponents, so presumably to do with the new characters. There's a new hairstyle, which is none other than Gaius van Baelsar's hairstyle. So if you've always wanted a Gaius haircut, that's probably as close as you're going to get. Looking pretty good, actually, on male and female characters. If you're interested in a medium length, stylish hairstyle, I could see a lot of people going for this. Quite a handsome look. Yeah, not too bad. And we've also got an emote here, which is also from the variant mode, probably with the currency that drops there. And it looks like you're happy. I'm not like, I don't know, like you're shy, maybe, gripping your face. I'm sure it probably says at the bottom of the patch notes. So there are some battle system changes then. Actions and traits have been adjusted. So firstly, there is a Reaper change here, and it looks like potency changes to Void Reaping, Cross Reaping, Grim Reaping, and Sacrificium. Yeah, it's just potency increases for all of that for the trait of Mastery 3, Enhanced Cross Reaping, and yeah, so it's just potency increases for Reaper across the board for those 4 abilities. The sound effects of a certain boss action during Hell on Rails and Hell on Rails Extreme have been improved. They say, we have received reports of a separate issue wherein sound effects do not play correctly under certain conditions. If you're experiencing this issue, please try turning off enhanced audio in the Windows operating system settings. Oh, interesting. There's also the strength of the echo in the Cruiserweight tier of Savage, also increased up to 15% healing potency, damage dealt, and maximum HP. So there we go, it's up to 15%. So if you've always wanted to do Cruiserweight, then it'll be a little bit easier. So for the variant modes then, this is just going through the basics. So we've got 3 difficulty modes, if you didn't already know with the redesign. We've got the Merchant's Tale variant mode, which is your basic, which has all of these various routes, which you might be familiar with. There's 12 routes in total, usually. For example, in the past, with previous variant modes, there's been a mount reward as well as an achievement. So presumably it will be something similar this time. Lots of different routes. Basically, go in room, pull cog, opens door, don't go through door is one option. And then, you know, all the other options would be the opposite of those, resulting in 3 bosses in total. And presumably a hidden 4th, right? There usually is. Then the advanced mode is the none of that, so none of these routes, and there's just 3 bosses. And you will have the option to basically complete the duty after each boss. There's slightly stronger iterations of them, and it's freeform, so you choose which way you go. But you're not committed to having to complete the entire dungeon if you don't want to. And then there's the Another Merchant's Tale, also known as Criterion, where you're basically just doing the bosses in a specific order that they tell you. There is no free form about this. They are obviously souped up a little bit, as you might imagine, and there are other restrictions as well, such as variant actions restrictions, resurrection restrictions, that kind of stuff. So they talk about the item level sync is 765 for the variant mode, up to 4 players. Again, that quest starts in Old Charlian. There's obviously a level sync, and in variant mode there is EXP to be gained for level 90 plus characters, and if you're level 100 or above, you will receive elegant tomestones as a reward. So there we go. And of course you can enter this via the duty finder, the variant and Criterion duty finder, which you can find under the duty list. You can obviously enter solo and or in a pre-made party up to 4 players, and there's also matchmaking as well. So if you haven't got any friends and you just want to queue up and get a full party, you can totally do that as per usual. I don't see many adjustments to the actual rules, so we're going to scroll through with the idea that you probably know all about variant modes. There is obviously the book, where you collect all 12 entries to get your final reward, whatever that might be. And of course, you can go to Trissant in Old Charlian like you could for the previous ones. Same exact place down at the dockside of Old Charlian. And you can exchange the Corvosi potsherds for various goods. So it's basically exactly the same. The advanced version then is 760 or above requirement. And item level syncs to 785. Interesting. And yeah, basically the boss's HP will scale according to your party size in the Variant Plus mode. And you must have also completed the Spellbinding Read to unlock the Variant mode. And you must defeat 3 unique bosses at the end of different routes in the Variant Dungeon to be able to unlock the advanced one. And then once it's unlocked, you'll be able to tick a box, and then you'll be able to make a pre-made party up to 4 players. Yeah, basically, you can also do matchmaking for that mode as well, which is pretty good. And as you can see, there are tomestones as a reward for doing so, like your usual endgame activities, like dungeons and things like that. You can set your variant actions as per usual. There is a new one, if I remember correctly, which is a sort of just another off-global damage ability. And yeah, and then there's another Merchant's Tale as well, which is the Criterion, which goes up to 795 item level sync, but a requirement of 770. And of course, you need to have 4 players for this. As per usual, that includes a tank, healer, melee DPS, and a physical ranged or magical ranged. And yeah, essentially, the item level restrictions and role requirements do not apply when registering with 4 players. And you get a bonus based on party composition, and the effectiveness of the damage bonus will differ between roles. Yeah, it's basically the same as it used to be, and you can exchange the Corvosi manuscripts in Old Charlian at Trissant. So that's the difference in currency. So there's like coins, and then there's manuscripts depending on the difficulty. But that's pretty much it. There's not really anything too major changed with the formula, other than there is no Criterion Savage. It is Variant, Variant Plus, and Criterion. So there we go. Then there's a few PvP changes, mostly this is potency changes to Monk, increases for the most part across the board for Pouncing Curl, Rising Raptor, Leaping Opu, Demolish, Twin Snakes and Dragon Kick all had their potency increased. Thunderclap, recast time reduced from 10 to 8 seconds, and then there's a few other changes here. Flint's Reply has been removed, interesting, and Fire's Reply Execution no longer requires the status effect of Fire's Rumination, has a charge timer of 16 seconds, and is charged with a maximum of 2 charges. Dragoon's got Chaotic Spring increase in potency. Ninja Bunshin potency is no longer halved when executing Forked Raiju or Fleeting Raiju. Increased movement speed on Huton from 25% to 50%, that's huge. And the effect duration has been reduced from 8 to 6 seconds on Dokumuri. Samurai potency changes added with a Q potency of 10,000 on Tendo Setsugeka. Yeah, so very minor changes really. Potency increases for Reaper in PvP. Viper's had Blood Coil recast time reduced from 12 to 10. Yeah, so we're not going to read through all of this because, you know, it's probably not going to be everyone's cup of tea, but it's minor stuff for the most part. A few bits and pieces here and there, but it does look like a few buffs here and there for the ones mentioned. Very interesting. And then, of course, there's the new ranked season of PvP for Crystalline Conflict, and this will be taking place on Light Data Center for Europe, Dynamis for North America, Elemental, obviously, for Japan, and Materia for Oceanic. So, yeah, make sure you go get your ranked rewards. There is no series rewards change, so don't worry about that. We're just simply talking about ranked. Right, you can go back to sleep now. You don't need to worry about that. Right, Frontline, there's a few changes here as well for Red Mage, Dancer, Samurai, and Paladin with damage taken changes, which is mostly nerfed. I don't know. Very, very interesting. It says adjustments have been made to job damage output, damage taken, and limit gauge fill rates. Okay, fair enough. Means nothing to me at this point. I haven't done enough PvP recently. And then new items have been added. We've seen this outfit. Presumably this is from the Corvosi exchange at Trisont with the coins, right? I doubt this is going to be Criterion. This is going to be variant or variant plus reward. Quite nice, actually. Can't wait to get that in the game and look at its dies. Following item names have been changed. Oh, they've changed the orchestra and roles. Naming convention for V2 Pulse 2 Remix. Pieces of music for Civilizations and Insatiable. We've got the new mount, which is very likely going to be the Criterion manuscript mount. I'd be very surprised if it was anything less than that for the giant floating Jin. We ride on the back of the Jin's lantern, right, as he flies around. We've got a manatee, and we've got a little mermaid girl. These are 2 minions, which presumably are from the lesser versions, the lesser difficulty, sorry about that. And then we've also got a first look at the fashion accessory, which is like a Corvosi parasol. That is actually really nice. That is one of the nicest things that they've shown. That's really, really lovely. Can't wait to get that. And then new face wear in the form of, I don't know, isn't this just the same? Oh, I see. Instead of it being a headpiece now, it's the, the eye masks, like the Cactuar one and stuff like that. Very interesting. We've got an eye mask that's built in. This is what I was saying the other day, actually, I wanted them to do. That's really cool. And then some very stylish shades, which look like Inspector Hardy-Boileds, but they're probably from the variant mode. Very cool stuff. And then we've got system changes. They're reducing server congestion. They'll be implementing multiple field instances for Yaktel and the area newly added in 7.45. So if you're a hunt aficionado and you want to get your maximum hunt marks for Dawntrail trains, Yaktel will be pretty useful because there will be extra instances of that and extra hunts. Very cool stuff. New achievements and titles. We've got new portrait accents been added and poses for the portraits. And this is the Corvosi themed one then. So you've got the Merchant's Tale in the background. Presumably this plate is from the Criterion version. I don't know if the variant mode has an adventurer plate, but it looks pretty cool. I would imagine you'd have to do the harder difficulty to get that one. Yeah, I quite like it. The backing's okay, but the frame is really good. Okay, so, oh, it's slash delighted, the emote then. Slash delight, slash delighted. Okay. Cup your face in barely contained ecstasy. Oh, lovely. Auto translation stuff, trophies, and achievements for PlayStation and Xbox, new music and sound effects. So that's pretty much the patch notes. And then we've got a little bit on resolved issues, so things that have been fixed. There was an issue in Heavyweight M4 Savage, wherein players transported by battle mechanics were affected en route by the execution of Lindworm's Dark 2 at their eventual destination. Interesting. An issue when playing the Tower of Babel and Lapis Manalis with duty support, wherein a status effect Willful did not function correctly when players received enough damage to be incapacitated by certain boss actions. That Willful status, if you didn't know, basically prevents you from dying at certain points. If you've died a lot during a certain dungeon, this is a duty support feature to basically make things easier for people running with AI. And apparently there was an issue, so it's been fixed with those two duties. There was an issue when participating in OISES, so the third moon, Mech Ops as a pilot, wherein a black loading screen would persist. I've actually had this, and it's very annoying. No matter how fast your SSD is, it would just straight up stick on a black loading screen. The only way to fix it was to crash your game deliberately or Task Manager. So I'm glad they fixed that. There was also an issue playing the OISES Mech Op Directive Collect Floatstone. Yes, the NPC Aelrot would continue to spam. He was like, a Mech Op is available, a Mech Op is available, in other words. Brilliant. I'm glad they fixed that, although it was quite comedic. An issue wherein the difficulty level of the minor Stellar Mission EX plus crucial initiative reductions was erroneously low. Oh, interesting. So, okay. So they've made it so that you can actually not farm as many of the EX plus tokens, because that's what people were doing. They were making advantage of the very easy difficulty EX plus mission for the minor. That's good. That should fix a few issues, maybe with the market board, maybe for some of the rewards being very cheap, but I don't know. It's probably already been done, the damage. There was also an issue executing voiced emotes as a female Highlander Hayir, wherein the voice of a different clan would play under certain conditions. That's interesting. Didn't know about that. There was also an issue where certain dyes were not reflected correctly when applied to the comfy Valentine skirt. That's interesting, because when we did our look at the Valentine's Day event, and I was like, the dyes are kind of okay, but they're not as good as they could be. Like, they looked a little washed out for some of the dyes, and some of them look really good, like the strong red colors. I'll have to go back and have a look, but that's good that they've done something to that. Lord of the Minion had a bug. I don't know how anyone found that. Wherein the ability of a certain minion added in 7.4. Oh, right, yeah. Certain 7.41 did not perform correctly. Cool. Well, they're not mentioning it, so I'm not going to mention which minion it is, but it was a recent one. An issue with the VNC dungeon category of a party finder window wherein the order of sorted entries was incorrect. And they say other various issues have been addressed, usually when there's something that's been fixed that they don't want to talk about. And there is also a singular known issue at the time of recording where you're playing the variant dungeon The Merchant's Tale, wherein activating the idling camera occasionally causes graphics to display incorrectly. Interesting. And that's pretty much it. So really, it remains to be seen what the rewards are from the new Criterion. Excuse me as I scroll up a little bit. Let's see. So it doesn't say anything about upgrade materials, but then they could be, I don't know. What will there be? The real question is, especially after reading through this, I'm not getting a sense that there's anything specifically changed from the formula from before, other than map changes and order of bosses and probably some difficulty changes. And the item level sync doesn't really give away much, really. So, yeah. So to unlock the Criterion specifically, you need to defeat all the bosses in advanced mode, right? And speak with the NPC Osman in Old Charlie to unlock it. It doesn't really say much, does it? Apart from the Corvosi manuscripts that you can exchange. So unless there are some specific items, I don't know, what would they do? Weapon upgrade materials for like the current tier? I don't know. But I would like to see how many of the items are locked behind the harder difficulties, and if there is any reason for me to go out of my way to do anything other than the advanced mode. Probably like, yes, because the Criterion will likely have the Jin mount, but will it be market tradable? That is the real question, because it's a lot of effort for something, and if it's market tradable, there's a good portion of people that just simply won't do it, myself included, mostly because of the stress of trying to find 3 other people that I know that want to do it for something that isn't bound to the duty. So we'll have to wait and see. If they fix that, that's awesome. If they've made it so that Criterion has as a reason to exist for other than just titles and an achievement, then that's awesome. But we'll have to wait and see. But that's just my opinion. You might disagree, but I'm not really seeing much on here about many other changes. But we'll have to wait and see. Anyway, the patch goes live in a little bit. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully that was helpful. Again, with the changes to variant mode, they're very minor. It's just basically the advanced mode doesn't have the branching paths. It has instead a choice of 3 bosses, and then the Criterion is as it normally is, with 3 bosses here in total that you do in a specific order. And then Hildebrand, obviously, right? But there should be some interesting rewards this time around, and hopefully some of them are, prestigious, and you can get them from achievements and actually doing the content. Anyway, let me know what you think, and I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.